All right, guys, it's close to Christmas. It's time for the season of giving, that season of cheer, that season of happiness and whatnot. And for a year like 2020, we all need that moment of happiness. And this movie in general always gets me happy every single time I watch it. And it's got to be my favorite version of A Christmas Carol that I could really think of. The Muppets Christmas Carol. So the Muppets Christmas Carol came out in the early 90s, and I think it's the first Muppet movie that is based off of a classic novel. I don't know, I'm probably overthinking this, but that is my mind. But truth be told, this has got to be my favorite version of one of those movies, next to Muppet Treasure Island. So in this movie, Kermit the Frog plays Bob Cratchit, Ebenezer Scrooge's employee and whatnot. Gonzo plays Charles Dickens. He is the narrator of the story, and what's really interesting about that is that while he is narrating it, he could have done it in every single style that he wanted to. Could explain the story that we all know, just add in the things that we are looking at on screen. But no, he just repeats lines that are actually from the source material. I have never seen narration like that. This has got to be some of the best narration that I have seen in a movie, next to Goodfellas and also The Wolf of Wall Street. Just don't make that comparison. Just don't. Anyway, okay, going back to Kermit the Frog, he plays a really good Bob Cratchit. He is a very poor man, although he's very loyal, and also he sees the bright side of things no matter where he is. He's a very fond family man, and I think Kermit the Frog was the perfect choice for that so-called character. For the main character, Ebenezer Scrooge, Michael Caine plays him. And Michael Caine, be it one of the best actors who ever lived, definitely does play my favorite version of Ebenezer Scrooge. But since I have read the novel and whatnot, he may not be the Scrooge that I so-called will want. Granted, he wasn't bad at it. It's really hard to put together a character like Ebenezer Scrooge. There's more to him than just the grouchy guy at Christmas and all he really cares about is money. He's kind of an enigma, mostly. Charles Dickens wanted him to have that enigma side. He's always a grouchy old man. He doesn't care about helping others. He's more in his own state, his own successful state and whatnot. And Michael Caine definitely captured that perfectly. And what I thought was really cool is how serious he took the role. I mean, you're talking to puppets most of the time. You'd think that there'd be a little expression on your face like, yeah, my contract said I should have done this. I don't know why. But he's talking to them like they're actual people, which puts the realism of the whole story. But you all know the story of A Christmas Carol. Scrooge gets visited by Jacob Marley. Of course, in this one, Jacob Marley has a brother named Robert Marley. They're played by Stetler and Waldorf. You just can't separate those two. And he is visited by the three ghosts. And the way they use puppets in these certain ways is by far absolutely genius. You see, for the Muppets, they could have just added in certain characters in these moments, but instead they use actual puppets that are good for the scenario. Like, for example, the Ghost of Christmas Past is a little child, whereas the Ghost of Christmas Present is the big jolly man that is always in the state of now, which is why he's forgetting things. Kind of looks like Saint Nick, and he has the laughing spirit that we all love. And the Ghost of Christmas Future, who no one really knows much about him because he's an absolute enigma. You can't see his face. He never speaks. All he ever does is point things out to Scrooge. And that is very clever in my mind. For such, they have just the right character for each role. And one of my favorite stories out of all of them has got to be the future version of it. As when he was a little kid, yeah, that was very interesting. It's kind of a story that says, well, yeah, all your decisions made you a very successful man in the future, but did it make you a very happy man? Whereas present, it tells him that it doesn't matter who you are. If you're poor, rich, young, or old, you could still celebrate Christmas like everybody else. And those are really heartwarming scenes for me. But the future scenes have got to be my very favorite ones. I mean, the businessmen that are talking about his death, they're pigs. They talk about his money like they're really greedy or something. They're used as pigs. And the thieves that broke into Scrooge's house, basically the vermin, they are, well, vermin. The main guy's a giant spider. Everyone else is either an insect or a bug and whatnot. Like I said, they're very creative with the puppets in this movie, and that is an absolute. How do I say this? It's an accomplishment in my mind. If you're going to put a character in a situation, especially with puppets, you create that character in the scene that you want them to do. I am going off board. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I need to get back in the groove here. So if I'm a little slow, I'm sorry about that, but that's just how it is. Anyway, to wrap this all up, The Muppets Christmas Carol has got to be my favorite version of A Christmas Carol for sure, but one of my favorite Christmas movies in general. You see, A Christmas Carol has got to be one of the first classics of Christmas stories out there, and this one really did capture the spirit of it. It didn't ignore the source material that Charles Dickens wrote down, and also it just brings on that childlike spirit to it as the Muppets, but you can still like it as an adult. So I will say The Muppets Christmas Carol is definitely legendary. So guys, The Muppets Christmas Carol, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.